of this lab. And so for this one, we're going to do the data that you collected when you essentially looked at your behaviors over 15 minutes and observed each minute. If you observed the behavior, you didn't observe the behavior. If you observed the behavior, you gave it a plus. If you didn't, you gave it a 0. I filled in this data right here already. So what we're going to first look at is the proportion of time that students spent in those different behaviors. And to do that, we want to first sum our data. And so this is for running. So Excel has built-in algorithms that will essentially do all the math for you. You just have to just call it up or look for it. So to sum a variable or to sum a column of numbers, you will first type equal and then start to type the word sum. You see it comes up here and it starts to set the equation up here. So basically then once you've got this much of it picked out, you want to highlight the row or the multiple rows that you want to add up. Now this time we're just adding up all the running data for that 15 minutes. And this is adding up essentially F right here, 3, and F, 17. So you know that the rows. So you could even type that in by hand if you wanted and then close this parenthesis. So you don't necessarily have to, it'll do it for you. And so it's done the math for you and it's added that up and it's essentially 10. Now, the next thing you want to do, you can do that for the rest of these. I'll show you the second one, sum. Highlight the row, this, hit enter or return, and this will just essentially add up all that information. For each time the child was observed in the behavior that we were interested in, you want to take this number, 10, the number of times you saw the behavior, divided by the total numbers of times that you could have observed the behavior, which was 15. So if you're taking an exam, you would do the same thing. If there were 15 questions on an exam and you've got 10 right, you would do the same thing to see what your percentage on the test was. So to do that, you go it equals, highlight the score that, or the number of times you saw the behavior, or this was a score on an exam, you would highlight the 10, divided by 15, which is the total number of times you could have observed that behavior, and that gives you 66. So 66% of the time over that 15-minute period, we observed the child running, or I observed the child running, or whatever behavior you were interested in. The next thing you want to do is find the percentage of time that you did not observe the behavior, so the time that you didn't observe the behavior. To do that, you just need to subtract 66 from 1. And so I'm going to show you how to do that. So you hit equals, you type a 1 because 1 is the whole number of times that you could have observed the behaviors minus the number of times you actually did observe the behaviors, and that gives you 33%. So 33% of the time we didn't observe the behaviors. And so you'll do that for each of these, and then you'll do a pie chart for these as well. And let me see, I'll show you how to, oops. So to do the pie chart, we will again highlight all the columns, go to insert, go to there, and then again just highlight this, and this will essentially give you the percentage of time that you did observe the behaviors. You do this one's actually a little bit more intuitive where it gives you actually the numbers. And again, titling this, changing the font here are two things that I want to see to get full credit. All right, so that's it for that section. The next section, we're going to go over how to graph or do a line graph.